Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about some TikTok drama that's going on. Now, I usually am out of the loop of all TikTok drama until it hits the other social medias. The moment, the absolute instant second, millisecond, it finds its way to Twitter, Instagram, I'm there, I'm seeing it, I'm following it, I'm now a private investigator. So anyway, let's start from the beginning. I might have to mute some of these clips if there's sound, but you know how it goes. So I'm minding my business on the Bird app, and then I come across this TikTok of a woman crying because she's a single mom and has to bake her own birthday cake, which was confusing to me. I mean, single moms, like, there are a whole array of things that could be wrong, like it's a sad divorce, heartbreak, cheating, I don't know what the fuck's going on. But this video came to my attention, so I saw this. So after I saw this, I was like, okay, I don't really understand the context, but moving on. Then I decided to check the comments, and it turns out that the husband of this woman responded. Now, the main reason I think he responded was because of how she portrayed herself here. I don't know the situation, so I'm not going to be taking sides. I have no fucking clue what's going on, and realistically, none of us do. But she kind of put herself out there as someone who's struggling, and people often assume that that means that they're victimizing themselves, but she did seem like she'd gone through some serious shit, right? So the husband responds and he says this.
So I've been sent this video a lot over the last few days, people asking my thoughts and my comments on it, and before anyone says, oh, you don't know her situation, or, you don't know what she's going through, well, I do, because I lived it. I'm her ex-husband, and right now I have full custody of our kids. This is our parent agreement. As you can see, I have all weekdays and weekends, time sharing with the kids, all at holiday academic breaks. And for her to get any rights back to the kids, these are the things that she needs to do. And yes, child support, she owes that. It's up to over $21,000. So she's a mother and doesn't pay child support. She was then arrested for check fraud, and during that hearing, it turned out that it was found that she stole almost $1 million from another guy. And also, she faked cancer in the past. These are scans that she would send and post on her page before. So, to sum it up, this person, for people that follow her or giving her praise and telling her how strong and how, amazing she's doing, well, she's really not a full-time mom. She barely has her kids. She goes out all the time. And she doesn't even have a job even. So she just really not someone that other single moms should really be looking towards as for inspiration or anything like that. There are a lot of, hardworking single moms out there, and a lot of respect to them. All I just want to say is she just isn't one of them. So hopefully everyone can see this video and know, who she really is. Peace.
So now I find myself being like, okay, I don't know who to believe anymore. And it's not like it even matters in the big picture, because both of them could be lying, both of them could be saying their version of the truth that includes lying by omission or not really. I trust no one, especially people on TikTok. I will say this reinforced my fear of ever dating someone who's on social media, because we'll get to the rest, but I really do feel like if you get to a point of desperation, sometimes social media feels like the only place where people will listen to you, so I'm not undermining that. That being said, how often do we see social media making anything better? With your personal problems, with stuff like this? How many times does it actually really help? At a certain point, it's like, is this not going to hurt you more than anything? So after the husband stitched a video basically saying that she owed him over $20,000, that she barely has any custody of the children, it's really just all him, And then the fact that he brought up that she had to see a psychiatrist, I don't know what all that entails, and I really would rather not make assumptions. So, but that was put out there for a reason, because there still is stigma around mental health. I think we're all aware of that. So as much as seeing a psychiatrist could be a sign that someone's like totally unstable and quote unquote crazy, it could also be like, bro, she needs to up her antidepressants. So I really don't want to make assumptions about what the psychiatrist is about. So after the husband responded, so she comes back showing us another woman's restraining order against the husband, partner, baby daddy, whatever, who was violent towards this other woman. So now we have kind of a third party involved, but really only involved for the sake of proving that this man is not quote unquote a good guy.
I put my face like at the top so I can block out the girl's personal information, but this is another girl that put a restraining order against him, like I think a couple of years before we got married, for chasing her around the table with a knife. It did end up getting, like after they went to court, it ended up getting declined because she did not have a lawyer, and he did, and he ended up winning, which is typically how he wins everything. Is the girls that he gets are young girls, he's older, gets young girls, and then he has way more money and is able to end up destroying them in court. I am not going to say anything else about it anymore. I'm going to get off the phone and not deal with this. I haven't shared about him in years. Like, in all the years I've been on social media, I've not been sharing about him. I had to get on here today to defend myself, and I'm not even going to keep these videos up for a long time because it's not the right thing to do. I have always said that's not the right thing to do, no matter who has told me to do it, no matter how long he's been doing this to me. It's not the right thing to do. I signed papers in court. Not even to court. We never even made it to the court process because I signed the papers outside of court to get him to stop doing this, because he swore he would. He would stop all of this hate and all of this, everything that's going on, if I signed the papers. And now I have a mess of on social media when all of my page has just been happiness, being inside my house with my kids, cooking and baking. And his whole entire page for years has been dedicated to destroying my life. And I don't know how anyone with a normal brain does not see that that is a problem. That even if all of the stuff he says is true, and everyone is asking if those allegations that he's making are true, no, they're not true. He's got people like on his side that can go over and make videos because he's loving every minute of it, but I have purposefully kept my mouth closed for years in hopes that he will stop one day and things with my children will just be better with him, and that is not the case. And now I have to, because I made a video of myself being upset while, yes, my kids were home and I was making a cake with them, for them, cupcakes. I was making cupcakes and I was sad and having a bad day because clearly behind the scenes, I'm going through a lot of shit with this man every single day on a daily basis, harassment every day, all day. And if you haven't been there, then you have no idea what that does to someone. Like, you can't even begin to know what that does to someone. And this whole he's not a Scientologist, it's on the website. Go click the website that you've all viewed of me, all his allegations. Click it. Like, it's on there. Anyway, I'm done talking about this. You guys can make whatever decision like you want. You're strangers on the internet, and that the main reason that I even got on here to defend myself at this point in time is because I am getting hundreds of messages on Instagram, on my email addresses, people saying they know my home address where I live. I haven't even stayed at my own house in 3 days because I'm literally terrified to be there. Like, this, no one normal, him, would do this to someone that never was even sharing about them on the internet. Post court documents where they can find people's address, where they live, where their children are, if that's normal. Like, how are you not thinking that this person is crazy? For 3 years, he's had a TikTok about me. How is that not obsessed? For 3 years. Why is he asking me to go spend birthdays with him if I'm this terrible and he hates me more than anything in the world? Begging me. I'm done talking about this. I don't want to be tagged in his videos anymore. I don't want any of this. Like, if you guys choose to support him, there's nothing I can do about that. And I haven't. In 3 years, I haven't even stitched a single video of his or done anything to take him down or anything like that, because I would never do that. That is not me. And now I'm on here doing things out of my normal behavior because I have to defend myself to strangers on the internet. I cannot even fathom what is happening right now. And his goal is for me to delete social media. Everyone's saying is like, delete your page, delete your page. I deleted it for 2 days yesterday and the day before in the evening because I got so overwhelmed. And every time I get a following, he does this. And then I delete my page because I'm like, I can't take the hate. I can't take the sadness, the accusations. Like, I can't live through this. And then I literally This time, I'm not, though. It's not okay for me to have built something on being a mom and cooking and running errands with my kids and doing things, and then I have to delete it because he didn't want me to use this platform to come after him, when I never was. The video that got 50 million views that he got so angry about because he was terrified. I literally told him I wanted him to take my page down, the page that he had about me down, when the news article wrote me about my video of 50 million that I was going to talk about it. And he said, no, he's going to make a video about me. And he was terrified that I would use the followers that I gained from this to talk about him, when in reality, this was just a little pocket of peace for me that I got on the internet, and I posted doing stuff with my kids and baking for them.
So at this point, I really don't know what we're doing. And part of me thinks that none of this should have been online in the first place. Like I said, desperation, sadness, depression, all that shit will make you post. Look for any type of human contact where you can find it. I think that's understandable. It's happened to everyone to some extent. The thing is, when it turns into millions of people know your business like this, I can say firsthand, it's never happened to me with millions, but firsthand, as soon as a lot of people know anything that actually can be used against you, it just turns ugly very fast. Like finding your address, finding your kids' names, knowing where they go to school, knowing where you live, seeing a picture of your license plate, and then finding info via your license plate. All of these things don't typically occur to people until you're like, oh shit, okay, I'm actually really easy to track down with very little information. But that's another story. So then she shows us text messages of what he's like behind the scenes when he's not trying to put on any type of good guy, good dad image, right? So we see these text messages. You guys can make up your own minds about those.
Also, I want to quickly share, because some people are posting that he's making the right choice by like exposing me and staying away from me and keeping my kids away from me. So I want to share some clips of some messages he sent me in the last week alone, so I'm going to share them. I had posted a video about my story, and I posted a little bit about like what I had been through in terms of abuse. He then said, "Stitch incoming, take it down or I'm going to ruin your life." I gave you the chance to comment to me before the internet has a chance. It's always been a threat that I eventually was like, I have to take my life back. I can't keep allowing him to do this. These are messages of him saying that this is last week of him, or May 13th at 1:49 p.m. telling me people want to hang out with him. I'm asking why he's being rude, just communicating. I know you hate communication. There are people that do, it's not you. He's telling me like, essentially, I don't want to be with him, but there are people that do, so he's gonna go take people up on that offer. This is him on May 17th asking to take me on a trip with him. So I just want to point out that like, and then I say no, I don't want to go on a trip. I'd rather just stay here and do things because I don't want to be trapped on a vacation with him. This is a person that's also on the internet. You guys like aren't paying attention to the facts of like what is actually happening. You're seeing documents that he put on the internet and that you can Google them. You cannot Google them. Those are closed documents inside of a marriage with children, so you cannot Google them. I got arrested, so I'll talk about that now. I got arrested. I cashed a check out of my account to open a new private account of my own, and I cashed a check to put it in there, and before the check cleared, it bounced. That's exactly what happened. I got my case closed, and I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, I made a stupid mistake, but other than that, there is quite literally nothing. All the other stuff is speculation. The whole person talking about the $1 million Andrew sent in emails. The whole entire website is typed. Like, I don't understand how you guys are not putting two and two together. I don't post those children. My other two children, I do not post them because I get threats every time I do. And it's not worth exposing them on the internet. I've posted a couple clips so that everyone sees, but other than that, there's literally nothing else for me to explain. You guys are strangers on the internet that know nothing about my life or his. You're believing a psycho.
She also tells us he's into Scientology, which is like another layer I didn't really see coming. It's concerning for sure, based on what I know about Scientology, which is an alarming amount, but it feels like a lot of extra shit is being dragged into this that really doesn't have all that much to do with it. Regardless, After that, she posts another TikTok. So there is a good deal of information here that I don't think is entirely necessary. Then again, when you're defending yourself on the internet, most people feel the need to do that, and it's kind of understandable because otherwise people will try to poke holes where there aren't really holes to be poked as much as there's just additional info that wasn't really necessary. Regardless, after this, man, I feel like we're doing a marathon here. Regardless, she does not mention the faking cancer allegations that he brought up. And that's something that I really wanted to see a response to, because if there's anything that will be telling about someone, it's faking illnesses and faking deaths. I have known people to do both. Truly, that is the only sign I need that someone is off their fucking rocker. So I was waiting to figure that one out, because honestly, the check bouncing, whatever, if you faked cancer, the check bouncing is the least of my concerns. And I say least of my concerns like I'm involved. I'm not involved. I'm literally just a girl on the internet. So she doesn't refer to the cancer, but then I go to his page and he posts this.
I want to introduce one of our amazing platinum donors. This is Elizabeth. And she is just an amazing human being inside and out, and I can't wait for you to hear her story.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I am really excited to be a part of this movement and raise money for a great cause and celebrate with everyone, and also share my story and help other women out there.
So the more times I've watched this TikTok, the more I am confused as to what point he's really trying to make by posting it. So he has the hashtag fraud, hashtag con artist. So I don't know if this is a reference to her faking cancer and this having to do with being a donor, a whatever, for some kind of cancer association, medical association. I don't know, because the man in the video talks about how she's going to share her story, but I'm not really sure what is the story? What are we talking about here? So this all leads me back to why is this featured in this TikTok? Is he just saying that she's a bad person, so she shouldn't be featured? She shouldn't be called an amazing human being? I am confused. Hey guys, so I'm gonna keep updating you as time goes on, because like I said, I have a feeling that shit's gonna just keep popping up, so I'll keep updating until I post the video. This is an update. So I'm gonna cut her video up a little bit because there's some things we've already discussed that aren't relevant, so I don't want to just put 5 minutes where 3 of them aren't relevant.
Andrew has created websites, TikToks, essentially everything since I left him. I think that is probably the Scientologist aspect of his life. If you go on the website, there's actually Scientologist links that he's added there. I don't know if anyone is familiar with that, but getting out of a Scientologist mindset in a relationship is not a good thing and not an easy thing. Andrew is extremely abusive and has always been extremely abusive. He told me the morning that he posted the video, if I deleted my social media, he would not do what he's doing, would not destroy my life. He says that he will not take them down unless I'm off social media. So yesterday I deleted social media to try to limit access to problems. I have been so mentally not okay since that happened. There are other women that have filed restraining orders against him, and if anyone took the time to go look him up as well, that's what you would see. Instead, you see everything you've looked me up, which is essentially coming from one man who is out to destroy my life. That is in the nature of being a Scientologist. That is what they do, and if you know anything about them, you would know that. I have a cease and desist. I'll post that.
So we talked about him briefly being a Scientologist, Andrew, right? So I said I didn't want to judge that for the simple reason that cults thrive on people being desperate and needing answers, especially after deaths, after trauma. We know this. Cults thrive on that shit. So I didn't want to assume that someone's a shitty person because they got sucked in by a cult, right? Okay. So the thing is that Scientology does have some really toxic behaviors. Like once they've determined that you're an SP, it's game over. I think we all know this. If you've watched any documentary about it, especially Louis Theroux's documentary or docu-series, I can't remember, I'll link it down below. We know that basically we see people leaving Scientology, escaping Scientology, and then they get filmed, they get followed around and filmed. They have threats. Everyone that is in Scientology that used to be their friends has to completely disconnect from them. There's like a whole series of things that happen. So while you might be the victim of a cult, I feel like it doesn't mean that you can't internalize their toxic behaviors. Whether that's a trauma response or something else, I have no fucking clue. But the fact that he told her that if she deleted her social media, they wouldn't have problems anymore or like he wouldn't ruin her life, is suspicious to say the very least to me, because there's a very definite and clear line between saying, stop posting about me on social media, which I think most exes say to each other, even with way less serious issues than this. There's a difference between that and saying, delete your social media and I won't ruin your life. Now, obviously one of those is more extreme than the other, but on top of that, you are basically trying to control how someone puts themselves out there. And most people today have social media. Do I think it's necessary to survive? No. But do I think that it's a big part of how a lot of people interact these days? Yes. So by asking her to remove that, it's not a death sentence, but I know there are some people that I only talk to on social media because I don't want to give them my phone number. They don't give me their phone number. Like, we're not close like that. So if I had to remove all of those people all of a sudden, that would be shitty for me, let alone if it's a source of income, let alone if it works as some kind of therapeutic conduit for you. Like, there are all these things that come with it. So by trying to limit that, it's not just about having Instagram or TikTok, it's about controlling someone to the point that you decide what's on their phone, which is alarming to say the very least. Now again, I don't know what the fuck is going on inside that relationship, so I'm not gonna say he's right, she's right, whatever. I will say there are a lot of red flags here on his behalf. I also feel like we know a lot more about her than we do about him as far as I've seen. Also because he's outed a bunch of shit about her and she's confirmed it or explained it, whereas she hasn't really outed all that much about him and he hasn't explained all that much about himself. As far as I've seen, he hasn't explained the restraining orders. So if we're talking about who seems, underlining seems, more transparent right now, she looks more forthcoming. Now, maybe he's just private, sure, but once you decide to out people's shit, be ready for yours to be outed too. I don't know what to tell you. I feel like this is just devolving into we're going to find out the minutia of these people's lives that we have really no business knowing. Hey guys, so as I had predicted, my little spidey sense was tingling. There are updates as of this morning. This is an hour before my video goes live. Basically, there have been updates on both sides and the updates are concerning. So let's start with his.
Hello everyone, I just want to come on here real quick and clear up a few things that has been obviously a very recurring theme on the page. Number one, I'm not a Scientologist. Don't even know how that came about, other than the website, but I didn't create the website either. So both of those things, Scientology, never been one. The website, I did not create. So those two things, nothing to do with me. Last thing is the name, Inventing Elizabeth. It is about a show on Netflix, Inventing Anna. If you haven't seen that show, I highly recommend going to watch it before watching more of my videos or commenting on my stuff. That show is about a woman who was a con artist and a scammer. So my name is a reference to that show. Again, I'm out of town, so I'm not gonna post much more until I get back, and then I'll be showing a lot more evidence, things like that, because I'm not gonna post hearsay things or, oh, show you text messages. Yeah, I could show you a bunch of text messages over the years and things like that, but at this point where this is at, with this level of the story, if you will, it just needs to be straight facts from here on out, and that's all you will be getting. So stay tuned. Peace.
Okay, so he denies the Scientology allegations, which honestly, there would be no real way to prove that he's into Scientology unless he were a high-ranking member, which I would guess he is not if he is part of Scientology. There's no way to confirm that. I could say I'm whatever religion today. Where are you gonna go check? We have to take that for what it's worth, and you can decide that for yourselves.
And I just want to clear up the domestic violence injunctions. They're just temporary injunctions. None of them actually were credible. None of them were ever imposed because there was no evidence to be found in any of the cases of any domestic violence. So I just want to make that clear. Again, I'll talk further about those individually and their own posts, but I did want to briefly clear that up so there's no confusion on that. And lastly, yeah, I have had my daughters, full time for the last several years. So as you go through my page, a lot of it is, pictures or posts or things like that. It's very little me talking into a camera, because when you have 2 kids, 1 kid full time, you don't have a lot of time. So it's even hard for me to get away and, make the posts that I have the last, couple days, doing stuff like this. I do think it's more effective, so I'm going to start doing it this way. But in the past, it's not as been as time effective for me to be able to do this, because again, I do have them full time. So
the way he talks about the domestic violence issue, I looked at the comments after I watched the video, and the comments are flooded with saying that he seems like a serial killer. He seems like, and then they threw out names of like known liars, abusers in time in the media. A lot of Chris Watts in there, which if you know what Chris Watts did, it's a concerning thing to comment. What I will say is, you guys know I don't really believe the rule of believing the majority automatically, right? So if like 20 people say someone's an asshole, is that person an asshole? We'll see. I don't want to just agree because 20 people say that, right? So when he says there was no evidence, the restraining orders or whatever it was weren't put into effect, I still have to ask, how is it that there were domestic violence claims in the first place from allegedly more than one woman? It's hard for me to believe that a bunch of random women would team up against a man to ruin his life with made-up charges. Now, it's happened before, sure, but is that realistically what I think is happening here for Andrew? Hard to believe, but again, these are all very flimsy things. It's really he said, she said, like, okay, I wasn't a domestic abuser. That's basically what he's saying. Okay, well, what the fuck do I do with that? So then I went to Elizabeth's page. So originally when I saw this, I wasn't sure if it was in reference to the death threats she'd been receiving or if it were related specifically like Andrew's behavior or both. I don't know. The idea that she's gonna stop posting, I think in one way is good for her own protection. In another way, I don't know. Like it's one of those things where I'm like, she might be safer that way, but on the other hand, I wouldn't want someone to silence themselves, and there's a very thin line there. Regardless, after that, she posted this TikTok with screenshots of their text messages. Now, I'm always a little bit weary of screenshots that aren't screen recordings, just because like sometimes you clip parts you don't even realize you clipped. Sometimes there's more need for context. So seeing them like this gives us an idea, sure, but again, I don't really know what to do with it. Surely there is something up here, and I don't really know which side is propagating it more. I feel like every time, like I said, there's an update, I understand less and less as we go, and the story just keeps flipping and changing to the point where I don't even have time to consider it before it's like, oh wait, the thing that we said 2 weeks ago is actually not true, it's this, it's that, and it's like, okay, I don't really know what to do with any of this. I am, as usual, kind of shocked at the lengths people will go to, and this could be for either of them. Like I said, I have no idea what the fuck is going on, and every time there's a new TikTok, I kind of change my mind about what's going on here because I clearly don't trust either of them. I don't know them. But you guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. People were already making jokes in the comments about how this is going to be a Netflix series, and at this point, I wouldn't even be surprised. Like, that is where we are at with entertainment. So let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.